I'm being asked by people, and it's a good question, why do we have to work on ourselves? And the reason we're working on ourselves is because we want to be the best human being that we can be. We want to reach up to our higher self, and that higher self can't reach us when we're living in our lower self. Our lower self is the one that follows all the patterns that we've been doing throughout our lives, the programming, the repeated reactions to things that are normally in a negative way, finding out what irks us, what, as Gurdjieff would say, is treading on our toes. When we work on ourselves, we work on these, and over time we begin to change ourselves so that we are aware when we're being poked or when we're being in a negative mood, and why. And once we know why, then we can deal with it. We want to break the programming that we've got ourselves into, which everybody has. We've all got programming. We all have reactions that aren't beneficial for ourselves, for our higher self, or to get to our higher self. It's the part of us that's living in our lower selves in this everyday world of the rat race and such like. And by working on ourselves, we learn how to deal with these. We are changing them. We're not suppressing them. We're not ignoring them. We're looking at them and working with them. It's like a cleansing. You know, this audio is accompanied to pictures of the sea, where I went down to the seaside one day, and when it was heavy winds, heavy sea, big waves, but like the salty air was cleansing me and the water was cleansing me, and I was pondering on stuff, which is what a lot of this work is, which I know people find difficult. And it is difficult to look at yourself and why you're like yourself, and the bits of you that you don't like, you want to just ignore. But the point of doing this work is to understand why we're like that and change ourselves and act in a different way, in a way that's more positive, more productive for ourselves. You know, it's an awakening to yourself of why you know, these different selves in you. As Gurdjieff says, we have many different eyes, different personalities that come out for different occasions. But some of them eyes have got themselves so programmed to react in a certain way to situations. And so, you know, we follow those patterns, but they don't get us anywhere because they're holding us down into our lower selves. By working on them, we're changing them. We're wanting to improve ourselves. And with that cleansing over time, as we get rid of all that, by changing it, you're emptying yourself. And in that emptiness then comes in the higher forces, the higher self, the contact with the divine. It makes space for you to feel the positive, true ways of life, the loving, caring, the understanding, and with that comes the wisdom to help you live every day to your fullest, to your full potential. I'm going to talk about nerves. We all have nerves, nerve cells, and you know, there's that old saying that people get on your nerves or something gets on your nerves. Well, Rudolf Steiner talks about nerves and discusses how nerves, when they're worked upon in a negative way, they start to dwindle, they die off, and this is what is the reason why people die, is because their nerves wear out. Well, we want to be able to make our nerves strong enough in a way to resist all the negativity, but also with our nerves, if we've got them in an understanding way, if we understand how we live, how we want to be, then our nerves won't get on our nerves. We would be instead more aware of situations, more aware of how we're reacting, and hopefully with that awareness comes a better way of dealing with things. with this life, we're trying to, if you want to become a spiritual warrior, we have to develop so that we are worthy of being that. But we're not worthy when we're falling into negative patterns. So that's why we're dealing with them and working with them. And as I say, over time, you start to change. You start making a clearing in yourself. And with that clearing, the good energies come in. The vibrations, you start vibrating with the harmonies of the universe more. You know, at times it might be in little bits, but it becomes more and more natural until suddenly one day you think, yes, I am a different person. I do react differently to things. I act instead of react. So making that space within us, within our hearts, within our minds, in our bodily functions, we're letting in the inner higher selves of ourself and the universe. And we'll be able to hear the divine, you know, the songs of the universe, as they say, the harmony of the universe. And we will start flowing with it. And as I was saying with this film, that I've put pictures of the sea too, where I was going and being cleansed of the sea. You know, this is one of the wonderful things about being with nature. You can go out and cleanse yourself in the woods, cleanse yourself of all your negativity, not thinking about it, but just letting it just go. Just let things go. And I remember when I was doing all this kind of stuff years and years and years ago, I used to think I'd let it go, and then suddenly something will come back to me. But that's like the kind of the tests and things. Yeah, I'm sure many of you have it. Suddenly old embarrassing or annoying thoughts suddenly spring into your minds, and I often think that this is the dark forces trying to make us fall from our path. And we have to remember that the devil comes through the head, the divine comes through the heart. So when we have them kind of odd moments when suddenly you're thinking of something that's just sprung into your head for no reason, we have to say, no, I'm not, I've dealt with that. That was the past. I'm going forward. I'm going onwards. I'm living in the now. You want to develop yourself so that you can be aware of everything. And that's what awakening is becoming aware. And as we go forwards, it becomes easier when you recognise tests and the temptations. You recognise them, and you can ponder on it and think, do I want to go down that path, or do I want to stay on the light path? I was talking in another show about the light and how the light is light in weight, light in the colour of it, the light in the atmosphere. And when you're going down the negative path, it's darkness, it's weighty, it's heavy. But we need to be light beings. We're supposed to be developing into the light beings. And our higher selves are light beings, so that's why they can only come down when we have a space for them in us and a lightness about us. And that's why we have to work on ourselves. But I do understand it is hard. It does take time, but we can do it. We have to persevere. And I think I shall leave it at that. But thank you ever so much for watching this video, and I hope it helps. And let us all be the spiritual warriors that we want to be. May the gods watch over us all.